On July 24, Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin signed a decree dismissing Mikhail Gusman from his post as first Deputy Director General of TASS. Although no official reason was given, several Russian media outlets made quite unequivocal conclusions about the motivations behind this decision. Namely, on the eve of this sudden dismissal from the post he had held for 30 years, Mikhail Solomonovich attended the third Shusha Global Media Forum. And not only did he attend, he posed a question to the president of Azerbaijan about how the head of our state manages to conduct such a unique foreign policy on all fronts. At first glance, there would seem to be nothing subversive about such a question, if not for a few crucial caveats. First of all, Mikhail Gusman asked his question immediately after Ukrainian journalist Dmitry Gordon. Gordon's very presence at the Global Media Forum in Karabakh provoked, to put it mildly, a negative reaction in official Moscow. At her weekly briefing on July 24, Maria Zakharova called his appearance at the Global Media Forum, quote, a black mark for those placing great hope in the West. We are quite certain that President Ilham Aliyev's answer to Gordon's question, let us recall, the head of state advised Ukrainians to never come to terms with occupation, did not go over well in Moscow either. Secondly, Mikhail Gusman expressed admiration for the principles behind the foreign policy of our president, all at a time of intensifying tensions between Azerbaijan and Russia. And something tells us that there is a connection between Mikhail Gusman's presence in Konkendi and his subsequent, nearly instantaneous dismissal from the post he held for decades. This unpleasant conclusion is supported by the numerous attacks on Mikhail Gusman from the so-called Z-bloggers, who accused him of supporting Azerbaijan and Turkey. Pro-government bloggers and military correspondents even demanded that Gusman be labeled a foreign agent and accused him of Russophobia. Gusman's presence in Konkendi was also harshly criticized on the Telegram channel of prominent propagandist Vladimir Solovyov. The notoriously Azerbaijanophobic war correspondent Yuri Kotinok went as far as to accuse Mikhail Gusman of being born in Baku and daring to love Azerbaijan. For many years, he has openly lobbied for Baku's interests and fawned over a government that does not hide its support for Nazi Kiev, sympathizes with it in every way, and promises to harm Russia now and in the future, Kotinok wrote. Yes, Mikhail Gusman was born in Baku and without question has supported, and continues to support, his historical homeland for many decades. He conducted what can only be described as a historic interview with Azerbaijan's national leader Heydar Aliyev on his signature program Formula of Power. He has engaged in numerous important discussions with President Ilham Aliyev. Through his work, he has helped tell the truth about Azerbaijan's role in World War II. He actively defended Azerbaijan during the Second Karabakh War, participating in the information war that accompanied it and speaking the truth from many platforms about Azerbaijan liberating its lands from more than 30 years of Armenian occupation. And now today, when Mikhail Gusman returns to his homeland and asks President Ilham Aliyev a perfectly reasonable question, he is dismissed just a few days later. Let us recall, the question concerned the president's core principles that enable him to conduct a successful foreign policy. There is something of a phenomenon here that not everyone in the world understands, and I don't think everyone in the world fully appreciates, Mikhail Gusman emphasized. So it turns out that this, essentially a statement of fact, struck such a nerve in someone in Moscow. Or perhaps the real problem was President Ilham Aliyev's answer.
I never lie to my people. This is what I said, and this is actually true.
And it seems this message did indeed reach a certain recipient, someone who, unlike our president, does not know how to keep their word. Be that as it may, relations between Russia and Azerbaijan sharply deteriorated at the end of June after the killings and lawlessness against ethnic Azerbaijanis in Yekaterinburg, and later in other parts of Russia. Let us also recall that, even after more than 7 months, Moscow has yet to answer a single specific question about the Azal plane that was shot down by Russian air defenses. And quite rightly, President Ilham Aliyev stated at the same Shusha Global Media Forum that after months of waiting, Azerbaijan had decided to turn to international courts. And such petty revenge, in the form of firing one of the most respected professionals in Russian journalism, someone who did so much not only for strengthening Baku-Moscow relations, but also for the benefit of the Russian Federation, ultimately harms Moscow itself. It harms the Kremlin. It harms a government that, it seems, is increasingly beginning to resemble a colossus with feet of clay.